talk to you about some of the intimidation tactics that TimTrow and the board have been employing against concerned members of the public. Basically, the Toronto Humane Society is trying to bully people into silence. They are suing people, sending threatening letters, yelling at people, lying to the press, and firing staff and volunteers. They have sent rejection letters to critics who have applied for membership, have ignored membership applications for months, and have launched a membership freeze. No. Are you going to let legal threats stop you from speaking out?
No!
Are you going to remain silent while animals are suffering inside this building?
No!
Are you afraid of TimTrow?
No!
Not either. The Toronto Humane Society is using donor dollars to sue Lee Oliver, a former employee, for $1.5 million.
Shame!
They're seeking $1 million in damages for a loss of charitable contributions, profits, and goodwill. They are also seeking $500,000 in punitive damages because they claim that Lee Oliver threatened Ian McConaughey.
He deserves it. Good.
Was this how you envisioned the Toronto Humane Society spending your donor dollars?
No!
Is the THS trying to intimidate other critics by launching this lawsuit?
Yes!
Are you going to let the threat of a lawsuit stop you from standing up for the animals inside the Toronto Humane Society?
No!
The Toronto Humane Society has mailed several letters to people threatening legal action for offences ranging from comments made on Facebook to images of animal neglect posted on websites. Anthony DeMello was sent a legal threatening letter because he wrote TimTrow must go on an online petition. Why are they using legal threats to intimidate a person who is on disability? Anybody know? The Toronto Cat Rescue has been sent 2 letters threatening legal action. The first one stated that any additional publishing of any further false or derogatory information will result in the society seeking legal action against your organization, which will be strictly prosecuted to the full extent of the law. This letter was sent because a Toronto Cat Rescue volunteer made a comment at the first protest. The Toronto Cat Rescue is an all-volunteer organization that works hard to find homes for cats. Why is the Toronto Humane Society trying to intimidate a volunteer-run animal rescue organization here in Toronto? Ari Gartner and 2 other members of the Association for the Reform of the Toronto Humane Society have received letters threatening legal action because of some images that I'm sure you've all have seen that were posted on the ART website. Don't THS members and the public have a right to see proof of animal neglect of the Toronto Humane Society?
Yes!
Are you going to be intimidated into silence by the THS because they don't like the images you've taken or the stories of neglect that you've heard about at the Toronto Humane Society?
No!
Since when are lawsuits and threatening letters a part of the mandate of the Toronto Humane Society?
Exactly.
They need to stop treating Toronto Humane Society money as a legal fund. That money was donated for animal care.
Yes! Yes!
It's not for lawyer fees. TimTrow. He's been seen numerous times yelling and screaming at both potential adopters and staff members.
I've seen it.
Just this last weekend, a neighbor of mine actually in my building went to the Toronto Humane Society with her sister to adopt 2 cats. They picked out 2 cats named Cujo and Fanny, and they were chatting with an employee at the front desk. They mentioned to the staff member that they were concerned about the health of the cat that they had seen in the adoption room. A person started screaming at them. They turned around and there's TimTrow. He yelled at them and said he was sorry that they had found so many of his cats sick. He continued yelling at them as he walked away. The staff member at the desk told these 2 ladies that they were no longer allowed to adopt Cujo and Fanny. Is this how you want the president of the Toronto Humane Society behaving towards potential adopters?
No.
Who did this outburst hurt in the end? Cujo and Fanny were the ones hurt in the end. They're probably still inside this building waiting to be adopted. TimTrow, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yes! Yes!
Rochelle Gordon, one of the protest group organizers, and a former employee of the Toronto Humane Society, decided to go to Global Pet Foods, right there, shortly after quitting her position. TimTrow stood in front of her with his arms crossed, whatever, blocks the doorway and says, "You're not welcome here." Since when is it okay for a 300-pound man to block the entrance of a woman into a pet supply store? Is this acceptable behavior from the president of the Toronto Humane Society?
No!
Linda McKinnon, a founding member of ART, went to the Toronto Humane Society a few days ago to drop off her written intention of running for the board of directors at this year's AGM. Upon walking into the Toronto Humane Society, she quickly found herself surrounded by 3 staff members. When she asked them what they were doing, their reply was, "We're supervising the lobby." What exactly are these staff members doing surrounding a retired widow? Is this how you want the Toronto Humane Society treating its members?
No!
Then another quick one for you. Couple goes to adopt a dog and drops off $500. They drove in from London, Ontario. You might have read this story in the Globe and Mail. They put a prong collar on their dog. TimTrow walks into the lobby and sees them sitting there waiting. Sees the prong collar, starts screaming at the top of his lungs, "I'm the president of the Toronto Humane Society and you need to get out of here." He continued to yell at them and called them dog abusers. He then had people escort them out of the building. Why does TimTrow think that it's okay to yell and scream at potential adopters and donators? Many of the staff and volunteers have reported TimTrow's temper tantrums. He has been seen yelling at potential adopters, yelling at staff members, and even going so far to scream that one of his managers is fucking incompetent in front of several witnesses. How much more of this are people going to take? Are you going to stop raising the concerns about the THS because TimTrow might yell at you?
No!
Are you afraid of the big bad wolf?
No!
Another intimidation tactic that the THS has been employing has been firing staff and volunteers who voice their concerns. James, former volunteer coordinator, was fired the day after he asked TimTrow if a rumor was true that Bandit had bit a staff member.
Lots of them!
Al Wright, those of you who worked at the THS a while ago will remember him. Al Wright had worked at the THS for 11 years. He was fired for speaking publicly about his concerns about the Toronto Humane Society adopting out dangerous dogs to the public. Erin, a volunteer kitten feeder, was fired from her position after being accused of trying to organize volunteers to complain about working conditions. Can you imagine an agency that deals with as many animals as the Toronto Humane Society does, firing volunteers who come in to feed kittens? By firing these staff and volunteers, what kind of message is the THS sending out to its current staff and volunteers? Could it be that people are afraid of speaking out because they don't want to put their jobs at risk?
He's a tyrant!
We aren't afraid of their bullying tactics, and you shouldn't be afraid either. There is safety in numbers. We all know that the only way to handle a bully is to face them dead on.
Yeah.
Please keep telling your stories. Keep spreading the word. If you get a letter from the Toronto Humane Society threatening legal action, please send it to the THS protest group and we'll make sure the appropriate media people get a copy of it. The animals of the Toronto Humane Society need you to speak for them. Nothing is going to change inside that building unless we all stand together and fight for the animals. There is no room for egos in animal rescue. This isn't about politics, nor is it about disgruntled employees. Do not let TimTrow and the board of directors turn your attention away from the real issues, which is that animals are suffering at the Toronto Humane Society because of their policies and procedures. This has got to stop, and together we can make it happen. Thank you.